no introduction, Mr. Rob Schneider.
See you over there. I guess if I sit in the middle, you can see okay?
Really quick orders of business. If you'd like to ask a question, Rob, just raise your hand. Rob's gonna.
Or you know what? Why don't you get a mic stand, or you can hold the mic right over here, and then you can come up and do that.
Can we use this, and I can?
Yeah.
All right. I'll be a human mic stand.
So you know what you do? Anyway, it's not a long cable. They're all short. That's all right. Well, they can come all the way up here. I don't care. They can just whisper. They can come up and whisper into my ear. If you have a question, whisper it in my ear.
Human mic stand, everyone. Just line up with me.
Stand over here, James. You're blocking everybody. All right. I think it's been very well. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out. I try to have as many lights when I talk as possible. Congratulations. I think your Leafs are going to be better this year, so that feels pretty good. I think we appreciate it more than teams that don't have like the worst team of all time. You guys are going to appreciate it now when they win, so that's good. I think if they win the Stanley Cup, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it happens, this town will melt down. I think they really will. They'll lose their minds. But wouldn't that be great? Good. I'm happy for you. I haven't even understand how hockey works, but it's okay. But anyway, I've been an actor for about 30 years now, and plus, and I wanted to be an actor before that. I just didn't know anybody. And then, I would say the best thing was just start writing things, and then I was lucky enough to get on Saturday Night Live with another Toronto person, Mike Myers. You guys import actors and comedians more than I think you do your lumber. You guys timber, you guys bring in, and I think you sell uranium, but I think you make like cute actors like Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling, and you import them to like Rachel McAdams, her first movie was The Hot Chick, by the way. She's very talented. Has she sent a letter or called? No. You stay here, you tell her, why don't you call Rob Schneider? But she's a nice girl. She's very talented, and I'm very happy for her success. But anyway, it's been fun. I have a show now I'm having the most fun with called Real Rob. It's on Netflix. Season 2. We're trying to get to season 3, so please watch season 2 as soon as you can. But I've enjoyed it, It's not the career isn't something you think about you should think about it, but I mean, it's just something you just keep going, and and you get lucky enough, you're still in it, so it's been a fun ride. I'm trying to figure out how to do like a superhero movie, but those are hard to pull off, but I'm still having fun. I'm still going to do some more stuff, figuring out which movies we're going to do. I did this TV show for the last few years, and I've been doing stand-up again because it's challenging and I enjoy it. Chris Rock, made me do it. But it's all been fun. And Adam Sandler and I have been performing, doing live shows. His next comedy special, I'm the only other comedian in it. It's October 26th on Netflix. They have not announced it yet, but I'm going to spill the beans. It's October 26th. And he's great. He's really phenomenal. He's a real talent, and it's been fun. I don't know what else. But if you guys have any questions, you can go whisper in this man's ear, and then he'll talk for you. Or you can actually yell it out, probably.
I can only go for it.
I saw an interview once. You said you were a Jack Lord fan, and I'm just wondering, did you ever meet McGarrett or any other?
I did meet Jack Lord when I was young. I did that movie 50 First Dates. I don't know if they let you do that again. They have probably because I'm Filipino, or my mom is, so I don't know what that makes me. But I basically spent all my summers in Hawaii and in Hawaii, and so I knew all those guys who talk like this. Hey, brother, how's it going, brother? So I knew it. So I kind of all you need to be for your outfit, because it's the same weather year round, is a tank top and some short shorts and flip flops, and you're good. And so I kind of felt okay playing those. What was the question? I forgot. Oh yeah. So when I was a little kid, Hawaii Five-0, that was like the show my dad would watch every Sunday night. And so when we were over there, they were shooting it. I couldn't believe it. Like I saw like the guy playing Dano, Book of Dano, and then I saw, sure enough, saw Jack Lord, and he just looked so old in person. Because I was like, 8. And I'm like, God, he's the oldest person I've ever seen in my life. And I said, and I knew not to call him like, Steve McGarrett. I knew his name was Jack Lord. I said, Mr. Lord. And he turned around and how's it going, young man? That was like a nice little moment. So, if you would have said, leave me alone, I would have crushed me. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. It's fun because we got to do 51st dates there many years later. And, I'm still like a little kid. When we were shooting 51st dates, it was really cool because Adam Sandler got to be in the trailer with, makeup trailer, flirting with Drew Barrymore. And I'm like, I have 3 hours of makeup starting at 5 a.m. I go, this was my good eye. And we were shooting it in Oahu. And I kept looking this morning. I like to get there early in the morning. There's some movie stars like Sylvester Stallone. It's like a prestige thing. The biggest actor shows up last, which is true. So Stallone wouldn't show up. Even some directors do that. Like Hitchcock would show up on the set last after everything's set, ready to go. He would drive up in his car, get out, shoot the scene, get back in his car, and drive away. And then he got his people setting up the shots. So Stallone was one of those guys too, like Sylvester Stallone. He would when we did Judge Dredd or Demolition Man, everything has to be set, and he comes up, all right, let's do this thing. And then he does his thing, and gets back in the car with Hitchcock, and they go whatever. So I like to get there first, because it's an advantage to figure out what places, what props, or where the camera, the light, and that stuff, so I know what I can do and figure out where my space is. And so I'm out there, and I know that, the scene is Drew Barrymore is going to be beating me with a baseball bat. And not exactly a romantic scene, but I'll take anything I can get. So it's one of those things where you learn some things, like the prop people are only interested in the props to impress their other prop friends, who are also doing props. The makeup people are only interested in doing makeup for their own makeup friends and stuff, The costume designer, the same thing for the designer. So the guy who made the car, brought the car up, he said the thing, it's a cool looking car, it's kind of a convertible, it's beat up, whatever, but it's a piece of shit, this car. And it takes forever for this thing to go up this slight incline. So Adam Sandler and I are waiting for Drew Barrymore, who's also not a particularly good, driver with a stick. We're waiting for her. And the scene is, Adam Sandler, he's got to meet her in a new way every day because she's got brain damage of some sort. So I don't know how that makes a romantic comedy, but it worked. So anyway, she forgets every day who she is, obviously, and then he's got to meet her. So this way, we're going to pretend to be robbing her, and then so we're waiting for the car to come up, and I'm going so we better add lips and stuff. So I start kicking up clear, you come here, make my sister clean your hotel room, eat our pineapple, And then what does that have to do with anything? Then she hits me with a baseball bat. But the whole morning I was waiting for her to get out of makeup, they have, I just kept looking, I said, I've seen this place before, what is this? And they said, oh, this is where Spielberg did the running of the dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park. And I went, holy crap, I love that movie. So I couldn't wait to just start running. So when she hit me with the bat, I started running, and it was a great moment where you see, because they didn't know the cameramen, these old guys, the camera guys, they started lifting the cameras to follow me because they realized this is working. And then Drew, of course, was enjoying beating me with a baseball bat. And then, I remember because I had welts on my back, and welts on my back. And the prop guy said, you want me to tell her to stop hitting you so hard? And I went like, she's enjoying it. So then I start running, she follows me, and turned into this whole thing. It's the biggest laugh in the movie. So, it was from loving movies loving movies that extended that to make it a funnier scene than was on the page. Anyway.
This guy.
Yes, this man seems impressed. Yeah.
Okay, so you played a lot of like quirky characters over the years.
Yeah.
What was the one you had the most?
I think it's a baby that has a question first. Yeah, I play a lot of quirky characters. Yeah.
Like, what was the one you had the most fun with? And why did you have?
The most fun are usually the most difficult. 51st Dates guy was easy because it was just give me the eyeball. Leave me with my good eye. I could do it. But the ones that are difficult are the ones that are kind of the most rewarding. Like I really enjoyed doing Zohan because I got to play like a Palestinian with other real, Egyptian and Palestinian actor. I wanted to do it respectfully. So like, there was one scene in there that we're supposed to do in Arabic, and it's on the DVD with John Sturturro and I doing it in Arabic. But we did this other scene that was so funny that we ad-libbed. Me and the other character, I can't think of his name right now, but where he's talking, we're calling the terrorist hotline, And so we just ad-libbed this whole thing. We didn't, and then that ended up staying in the movie. And I don't know why, but like something about that role, I was bouncing the whole time. Whenever I'm on the phone or something, I was like, oh, he's gonna And I watch that now and I go, I don't know how I did that, I couldn't do that role now, as funny as I did then, but thank you. Yes. He's waving. Are you asking a question for that person? I'm sorry. No,
This guy has a question maybe.
yes, young man.
So, your name's Rob Schneider, and I had a very interesting question that's been pondering me for a couple months.
Yeah.
If you were a Schneider's meat product,
That's a very good question. I would probably go with ham. I always wish that those guys would call me to advertise. I would. Thank you. Yes, young lady. You can do it! There's a character that I started my life before you guys were born. And like, Adam and I would go out places, and Adam Sandler would like notice that like people would yell that out at me. And he'd notice that like after a while it was kind of unnerving, So in his head, 10 years later, maybe 15 years later, he wanted to do another thing for me that would cause me to be uncomfortable again. So I remember he called me and said, this is one line, just come out and do it for the weekend, Because he was shooting The Waterboy. The Waterboy was turned down by every studio, every single studio. Except the last studio that they went to, otherwise they were not going to make the movie, was Disney. And Disney said yes, and they made $163 million just at the theater. And it's going to make hundreds of millions in video, DVD back then, when there was money in it. But anyway, he called me up and I said, what's the line? He said, you can do it. And I went, well, what does it mean? He said, we'll figure it out, just come on. And I said, well, I don't understand. He said, come on, no, we'll have dinner. So basically, I just flew out there to have dinner with him. And we shot for 2 days, 1 day and a half, basically. And he had me saying, you can do it. You can do it, you can do it, you can do it. I don't know. Cut her head off, we're going to win tomorrow. Or whatever. Wake her ass up, And then, so I just did it a bunch of different ways, and I didn't think much about it. Honestly, I didn't think much about it. And then he called me up 2 weeks before the movie came out and said, Rob, in 2 weeks, the Waterboy is going to come out. You're not going to be able to go anywhere without hearing, you can do it. I remember getting a cold chill back in the day. It was 20 years now, I'm still getting it. So those are the best jokes, the ones that last for 2 decades. Yes, young man.
First of all, for the Schneider's meat product, you missed the opportunity of footlong. Come on, really, seriously.
Oh, that's true.
But Deuce Bigalow, best movie of all time in my
Oh,
opinion.
God bless you. I didn't say best of all time. I say it's a funny one.
You had me rolling, literally
Oh,
crying with laughter. How many takes for the Tourette scenes did you guys go
Well,
through?
that was Amy Poehler, by the way. I don't know why she's not more proud of her role in that. That's her first role. she never goes, oh, that was, but, I guess because she wasn't starring in it or whatever. But she was great. That was her first big thing. I remember her manager, David Becky, I had to call him up because I was thinking maybe that's not funny because we were auditioning a bunch of actresses and it just wasn't funny. And I thought on paper it's pretty funny. When I do it, it's funny. And then I went up to go see Conan O'Brien to do a show, and she was one of the big players on there who was harassing Conan O'Brien, like pretending to be like a fan or a sister or something, I don't know what. And she was swearing at her, and I was like, oh, this girl's funny swearing, okay. So then I called her manager, Dave Beck. He was a big manager now, it's like Kevin Hart's manager, whatever. He wasn't a big manager back then. I called him up and I go, I want Amy for this movie. Well, you're gonna have to pay her. I was like, oh God. I said, what has she done? Well, she hasn't really done anything yet, but we still need some money. And I was expecting, a couple $100 or something. I don't know what he's gonna ask. You're gonna have to pay her $25,000. I'm like, all right, you drive a hard bargain. I would have paid $75, $100. But anyway, she was very funny in it, and she did a very good job. And she's just naturally funny. And then she got on Saturday Night Live after that, because of that, even though she admits it. But she's a big star, and she deserves to be, But that's the first thing she ever really did. And you can tell her that to her face when you see her. You in the back?
Yeah, all the shows on Netflix.
Real Rob, Netflix movie. Yeah, thank you.
Just kind of wondering how much it's straight on your real life.
Yeah, everything in it's true. It's an exaggerated version of it, but basically, I think it's more interesting to be like John Cleese is my hero from Fawlty Towers and Monty Python. And his producer, who passed away last year, or maybe it was a couple years ago, but he said like the best sitcoms require really horrible people. And so like, Seinfeld, those are very horrible, selfish, narcissistic people, And like Basil Fawlty is maybe the biggest jerk of all time. So I'm basically doing my American version of Basil Fawlty. I realize what the TV show is. I'm basically Lucy, and my wife is Ricky Ricardo. And that seems to be working. We're doing season 3 now. If enough people will watch season 2, please. Yes. You have a question, sir? One more question. Let me take you, sir. Yes, sir.
How did you make your wife to act in the series?
Exactly. I'm still trying to make her act in the series. She didn't want to do it, but I told her, you'd be great at it. She was a producer for comedy series in Mexico. And I said, you'll figure this out. So it's really, she writes the shows now. Her and Jamie write most of it, more of it than I do. She will say that she writes all of it, of course, But she's really good, and I'm proud of her. So we're going to start doing some movies now, the two of us. So we're going to see what happens. I'm still having fun, When I'm not having fun, I won't do it anymore. Do we have any women on the question? Yes. Is a woman right there? Yes. The arrow? How the arrow? Well, first of all, I don't have a gigantic target, but they just no, it was a special effect that they did. I wish I could lie to you and say they really put it through. That would be very expensive. But no, it's all just pretend. But it's, that guy who wrote that, Fred Wolf, is the guy who wrote most of that script with Adam Sandler, and he's an idiot, I would tell you. And as a child, he did do those things. So those are the kind of dumb things that they would do. They would, shoot an arrow up and just everybody would run. And that's, a lot of those people, the dumb people in high school, they're like, wow, that guy's probably not going to make it that much longer in life. He's one of those guys who just happened to make it longer in life to become a screenwriter. Yes.
If you weren't an actor, what would you be doing?
Gosh, that's a good question. I love acting, but I don't know how much more I'll be doing. I think writing. I'm about to write my book. I don't know. I've been waiting forever to do it, but I better do it now before I start losing the memories. Okay. Yes, young lady. I really liked Men Behaving Badly, but it wasn't as good as the English version of it. So I was disappointed, but it was still fun to make. Saturday Night Live was a lot of fun to make. I really like doing the prison comedy Big Stand. And then, and The Hot Chick was probably the funniest movie I've made. That has the best jokes. You think you're so cool because you compete with your penis. That was a pretty good one. I'm proud of that one. Yes?
When your pillow fight scene.
Yeah.
What were the challenges
Well,
in...
Well, first of all, the most challenges, one of the girls basically ruptured like the retina in my eyeball. And like, I remember like, if you see it again, my eye, you can see I'm really pissed at a certain point. Because, you know, the prop guy just didn't think about getting lighter pillows or anything. He was really heavy. I think the prop guy hates me, that's why. But anyway, that was a challenge because we actually had to stop shooting for 2 weeks because of, it's the only time I've had to do that in a movie. Because the insurance company, because what we did, we put the girls on, which is really fun by the way, we put the girls on these 500-pound weights. And when the weight is on, you put it on a wire, and it's through the wall, and then you just paint the wire out later, and then you drop the weight, and the girl flies into the wall, and it's really funny. And so Disney said, yeah, that's really funny, but what if something goes wrong? We're not going to pay for it. And so, well, then who's going to pay for it? They go, well, you are. And they go, well, I don't have as much money as Disney. You're Disney, I'm Rob Schneider. This is your movie, I'm making it for you. And they said, nope. So the prop guys didn't want him to be responsible for it. And another prop guy, the stunt coordinator, who's Tom Cruise's guy, what's his name, Smurs, Greg Smurs, and his brother Brian Smurs. Those, you know, when Tom Cruise is on a building, whatever, you don't see as a wire. The guy on the other side of that wire is Greg Smurs. That's the guy you trust with your life. If Greg says you can do it, you can do it. If he says you can't do it, then you don't do it. And Tom Cruise broke his ankle on the last picture he did, this last Mission Impossible, which is an amazing movie. And Tom does his own stunts, he's incredible. But like Tom ran slightly slower by like a tenth. And that was enough to break his ankle on a jump because he timed it towards the rehearsals. But there was gravel up there, so anyway, he just was a little short. You know, God bless him. You see Tom Cruise trying to finish it. But what was the question again? I told you that.
What were the challenges?
Oh, the challenges. So we had to wait 2 weeks, and then finally I just said, finally I said exactly what that baby said. No! And then Disney relented, and then we shot the scene. But it was very funny though. I mean, the pillow scene I think is the funniest scene in that movie. There's a lot of funny stuff in there, but that one seemed like crazy, violent, and funny. There's a certain safe violence, which is pretty funny, but I think that one that was probably screamingly funny. There were some moments in that movie where were like really off the charts funny. That's what pissed me off so much about Roger Ebert, is I know he was in the theater in Chicago when they were testing, when they were showing that movie, and he didn't like me very much. And we finally made up at the end. But people were laughing so hard during that movie, and he never talked about that in his review at all. He should at least say that people were dying laughing, you know, so I thought that was, not fair. But that's a very funny scene. The studio, for me, the Academy of Motion Pictures, the Oscars, they asked me for a copy of that script for their permanent archives, which is pretty cool, I think. That's a good. Yes.
So going back, are you trying to go back into stand-up and like how do you feel about the stand-up work?
Stand-up is really interesting right now because I like the challenge of it. Chris Rock is going to start talking and doing it when we did Grown Ups. The challenge of stand-up now is that people are really scared of what they can laugh at, what they can't laugh at, and the comedians are kind of scared of what they can say, what they can't say, what they can tweet, what they can't tweet. You tweet, you lose a TV show these days, So you got to be careful. I look at tweeting the way that, Korean priests look at, lighting themselves on fire. I mean, it's really self-immolation. You really can just destroy yourself. I'm doing a surprise set tomorrow night at the Comedy Cafe here at midnight, if anybody wants to go to that. Not such a surprise anymore, but I'm going to do a set. I like the challenge of it, but it is kind of daunting, Like we're doing a movie coming up pretty soon. We're not sure which one we're going to do, but I'm going to make every actor sign you can't say anything weird on your tweeting or your Facebook. I'm going to make them sign something because it's just too much work, And then like one guy says something dumb, Kevin Spacey had first of all, I don't know Kevin Spacey, I don't know him, but like he, whatever he's accused of, and whoever accused him, whatever. All I know is he had a movie come out last week, in a lot of theaters. It made $126. That means like one person went. So, And it's just, it isn't necessarily about money, it's also, you know, I'm glad that you know, a lot of this stuff's coming out. Everybody's got some creepy story about, every woman I know has a terrible story about show business, you know, so, you know, I don't know, Rachel McAdams has a terrible story about show business. I was glad she had a good one with me, you know. No, because she had a good experience on that movie, which was great, I needed it. This doesn't have to be horrible, you know, and even though it can be. Yes, loud baby, how are you? What's your question? How are you? You're sweet.
I was just curious, why you were in Europe's too, and then
That's a very good question.
why you haven't really done any Sandler movies since then.
Maybe he's mad at me. I don't know. No, I did Ridiculous 6 after that. That was good.
I like that movie because I don't like it all the time.
I always look for the voice when I do a picture, and like I was trying to. There's a Mexican. That was a Mexico City accent.
Not just Mexico, but Mexico City. And the thing about the guy that I worked with, his name was Hidalgo, Carlos Hidalgo Valdez, and he talked my ways. So I said, that's the voice I would use for the movie.
But I didn't do Grown Ups because of what you're holding right in your hand right there. My wife was having a baby, and I went, I've missed so much. This I'm not going to miss. So I stayed there with my wife. And I stayed with her, and then right when the baby was coming out, I passed out. Just like a real man. Yes. Yes, you. Hi. I saw you. You had your sweater on again. Good. Take your time. It's okay. Which eye should I look at right now? I just want to know. What's your question? Do you have a question? Remember?
Yes.
You can come back to me. We're not going to be
No, I got it.
You got it? Okay.
How was it like to...
Now I forgot the answer. You took so long. I had it, and now it's gone.
How was it like to be a big stan? And if you wanted to, would you make a sequel to that?
I thought about people have asked me to make a sequel. It was just so disappointing. That movie, at the same time, you have to realize in life, it was a very good life lesson. Because I made that movie at the glut of, you see, the movie business, it's a lot of money to make a movie. And it's very difficult to get people to give you money to make a movie. You know, people ask, the Grown-Ups, did you guys just add good that? And we're like, first of all, it cost $90 million to make Grown-Ups. You can't just go to Sony and go, can you give us $90 million? Where's the script? Oh, we'll just figure it out. We'll come up with some stuff. You have to have a good script. So the Big Stand was an independent movie that I did that with the company, this guy named Bob Yari, who I was strangled. Anyway, he took the movie and then went bankrupt. So I was like, I got stuck with it, and I had to like take it away from him, and then take it out. And by that time, there was like so many independent films, and like the DVD sales, the DVD was already sold, the video rights to HBO, so it screwed me because like the parachute at that time for the whole movie business was the DVDs. That we'll make money on DVDs, you know, and then that disappeared after that. So it's tough. But in the meantime, though, I had literally took it by hand and would take the film and then take it to like Mexico for the theaters. Any place that opened it up in the theaters, I went. Mexico, South Korea, Argentina. I went to Australia, Spain, just to support my movie for my international distributors. And one of the places I went to was a small movie company in Mexico that released the film, and not in a lot of theaters, but I went, and I was promoting the show in some small cable shows. That's where I met my wife, so it worked out pretty good, you know. So at the end of the day, you know, from something I considered a commercial failure, I considered the best thing that ever happened in my life, so that's good. The sequel I couldn't do was David Carradine died, but I wanted to. I wasn't going to do the movie with David Carradine, the Kung Fu. If he said no, I wasn't going to make the movie. Because you have to have like certain people in place, so like to make that movie a real special movie, I wanted I wanted basically what Marlon Brando did in The Freshman, kind of making fun of his character in The Godfather. I wanted David Carradine making fun of his character in Kung Fu in this movie. And so there's some really good scenes and I'm very proud of that. And you know, a couple of the characters are gone now, so I couldn't make it now. Yes, you can have.
First off, really big fan.
Thank you. Oh, God bless you. Thank you.
What was your experience filming with Dan and Aaron from Game Grumps? Were you
Well, thank you. First of all, those guys was really funny because there's somebody said you got to hear this, and it was like I went on. I never heard of what Game Grumps was. It's a YouTube show that's where these guys play video games, but they're really funny and likable guys. And like one of them really liked the show, and one of them hated the show. But they were funny about it. It was in an interesting way. They didn't understand my characters. Why would Rob Schneider want to play such an asshole if he's playing himself, you know? And I thought, and so I said, but they really like my wife. So I played it for my wife, and she said, I like these guys. Yeah, but they hate me. That's okay, they like me. So we went on the show, and now they're our good friends. And they're really terrific guys. We really enjoyed, and they're really hugely successful guys. Yes? I did, but I never had like a baseball coach before. You know, it's like these kids who play baseball now, they can get a coach. I never had one of those. My dad played catch with me once. That was it. He wasn't a real athletic guy. So, yeah, but I got like but I did yoga. And if you do yoga, as back then I was doing it every day. And if you do yoga, you can do anything. Literally, you can stand on your head of, one hand. So that really helped me, and then I just started learning to play baseball every day. At 40, which was a little tougher than at 14, but and then I just kind of got good at it, and then we just had a ball. It was fun. But then after I got invited to like spring training with the Giants, San Francisco Giants is my favorite team, and they've won 3 World Series recently. You guys have won 2. We won 3. And then it was like 2 months after I'd stopped playing, so like I'd forgotten. I mean, I couldn't just keep up with the 90-mile-an-hour fastball. It was really embarrassing. It was a beautiful experience, though. I recommend it. If you can play baseball for 3 months and make a movie, do it. Yes.
Rob Schneider.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of your
thank
movies.
you. I see your shirt.
I think they're all masterpieces. Wonderful,
No, they're
great
not, but thank you.
movies. Okay, and me and my 2 friends, we wanted to commemorate you in this shirt.
It's beautiful.
Thank you very much. I
I
just
love
wanted
it.
to
It's
ask.
so handmade.
Yeah, it's handmade. We made it. Took hours upon hours of hard labor. It was amazing. I just
Looks
wanted
good.
to make sure you saw the
It
shirt.
looks good. Turn around so people can see it. I used to have that much hair.
I know. I'm sorry.
Those are fun. Those are fun movies. It's nice when people recognize, they like it, and sometimes they like it less, like in South Park, which was. I remember my niece called me. She couldn't even breathe because she was laughing so loud. Oh my God, South Park, that's very fun of you. Oh my God, it's so funny. I was dying laughing. And I saw it, and it was really funny. It was like, we were doing these things like, Rob Schneider is, there's a Gigolo. Rob Schneider is the hot chick. Rob Schneider is an animal. So they said, Rob Schneider is a character. It's a real honor to be made fun of by those guys. I mean, they were, and my friends from The Simpsons, Matt Selman and Dan Graney, they said they could have been way meaner to you. Because if you look at what they did to Michael Jackson and Mel Gibson, those guys like Tom Cruise and some of the others, they could be, when they want to be mean, they can be mean. So, I think they're brilliant. I was very honored by them. Yes.
Was there one character or gig that you did that you didn't think was going to get so over that was?
I always think it's always going to work, and I always think it's never going to work. Every time. Yes, all the way back.
I have a quick question. In your opinion, what's the big something between actor or comedian moving forward?
Oh, God. That's a good question. I will say there's a couple of guys like Checo is this Italian guy who's coming over here. I think he's going to be, this guy Luis Mendez. Eugenio Derbez is a great Mexican comedian that my wife brought here. Now he's a big star. He did like Latin Lover. He's at Inconvenience. What's the one? The Instrucciones no incluido. Instructions not included. He's a really good actor. I think he's going to continue to be a big star. This guy we're trying to figure out what movie we're going to make with Luis Mendez. And he's going to be a big star. I'm interested in international guys, I think that's interesting to me. I can't think of any young stand-ups right now because I just haven't really seen any. But I'm sure there's going to be some big ones. Okay, yes. This green hand.
Oh. I just want to say, great job on the back.
Thank you.
And I just want to say that a few days ago I was watching Deuce Bigalow, male video, I was watching that VHS.
Yeah.
My parents came in.
The best way to watch that, by the way.
My parents kind of walked in while I was watching it actually, and then I was saying, well, I knew Rob Schneider, so I was wondering, what was your favorite scene in that movie?
The one that your parents walked in on. No, it was a weird thing. It was some of those scenes were fun. The Tourette syndrome ones, I think, if this is working, this is really going to work. You know, we had to shoot that in a baseball stadium, and Disney owned it. You know, they owned the Anaheim Angels at the time. And I said, you know, they're never going to let us shoot this scene there where she says, ball hair. I need a strike hair. I needed it. And so basically what we did was we gave them a phony script and said, this is what we're doing. We took all the swear words out. And by the time we shot it and had it in the can, you got it? Let's get out of here. And we just blurred out some of the baseball players at the time. And then we shot it. You know, that's the kind of stuff you have to do. Lie. Is anything going to get ruined in our store while you're shooting? No! You know, I remember we were doing Real Rob season 1, and the stunt guys, I take Jamie and I throw him down the stairs because he's in a bear outfit. Anyway, so, I said, Jamie, do you want to do it to save some money? And he went, no. Okay, so we got to get a stunt guy. The stunt guy, I threw down the stairs and went through the wall. It was like $5,000. And I had to test it in season 1, that was, I hit a pedestrian. And then the police are more interested in how I am doing than the guy I ran over, Mr. Schneider, are you okay? When you hit a pedestrian, it's very stressful. And my wife was like, my husband was the one driving the car. That's the guy hit by the car. He'll be all right. Mr. Schneider, would you like some water? Sorry, it's episode 4, season 1. Very good. So those are the things you kind of remember, the difficult ones. The shots that you can't, that are more challenging. I mean, one of the things, I don't mind saying he's passed away now, but David Carradine, when we were doing Big Stand, I was the director on that. Because I didn't want any other filter. I said, well, I know what I'm doing, so let me just do it. And he noticed I wasn't going to yell at him for drinking. So he just kept drinking. And, I was just happy he was doing the movie. So he'd be drinking, and then I go, well, let's get, so we had a dinner scene. I got the best bottle of French wine I could get, And he says, this is very nice wine. Of course it is. I brought it for you, asshole, And but we try to shoot during the day with him. Some guys, they start drinking at noon, and then at 5 o'clock, they're ready to go home and do the real drinking. And so Dave was one of those guys. So I knew we were going to be in trouble with shooting nights in Hollywood, in a bar, till 5 o'clock in the morning. So I remember telling the crew, I said, I want to tell you, Mr. Carradine, going to be coming on set. I don't want no matter how much he asks, I don't want anybody coming and being behind the bar serving Mr. Carradine drinks. We have to work tonight. Thank you very much. I appreciate your cooperation on this. I come back 45 minutes later, David Carradine behind the bar, finishing off already half a bottle of vodka. And I thought, this would be a long night. And it was, he was a little tough that night, but he was still great, But the guy who helped me out was Emmett Walsh that night. Emmett Walsh, because David was starting to get a little bitchy, and just a little bit. And Emmett said, what's the matter, David? You don't like to work? It's what we do. And he sobered up, because that's one of his, one of his colleagues. So he sobered up. Yes, over to the right. Hi.
Having been on Saturday Night Live yourself, what's your opinion of how the show is now?
I think it's okay. We had crummy shows when I was on it. People only remember the good stuff, but I remember a lot of shows, I hope people fall asleep after the news because this sucks. But yeah, they'll have their good moments, they'll have their weak moments, It's a little tougher now because there's an instant road to outrage, to express your outrage. So that with Twitter, we didn't have that back then. When you were pissed off before, you had to write a letter. You had to get a piece of paper, a pen that worked. Because you know the first pen that doesn't work, I mean, you have to have a clean piece of paper, otherwise they're gonna know you're a crazy person. You can't write on the back of a bank statement, you know? Then you gotta spend your own money. You gotta get a stamp. I'm still pissed, damn it. I'm gonna leave my house. You have to get an address. You gotta get on the phone. Yeah, I'm still pissed off. What's the address of that tire? And then you got, damn it, I gotta leave your house and you gotta find a mailbox, you know, make sure it doesn't get stuck in the lid, you know. Now all you have to go is, Saturday Night Live sucks, tweet. So, I mean, they'll be fine. Hopefully they have funny people and funny enough things in the world, you know, and hopefully, you know, the Trump thing is just too easy at this point, I think. He's his own cartoon, you don't need to you can't make fun of something that's intrinsically funny to begin with. It becomes cartoony, which is what a cartoon is. Yes. And yes, do you have time for 3 more questions, young lady? Yes.
What is your favorite SNL sketch with you and without you?
That's a good question. With me, probably the Italian waiters with Adam Sandler. Because Adam Sandler and I, when we started making money, I remember I went over to his house and he had like a new couch, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice couch. Where'd you get that? I said, no, I bought it. You bought a new couch? That's like we had money. So we go out and have because we didn't have any money. I remember he lived above, he had like his friend, whatever, his dad's friend. He got rented this tiny wall, a little hole-in-the-wall apartment. And it was above this place called Eats in Midtown. And I said, we'd have to strategize to go eat. You go, okay, listen, we'll order a turkey sandwich, we'll split it. And then we'll get a soup, you eat some, I'll eat some. Literally, because it was like $17 for a turkey sandwich. This is in the 90s. So it was like, okay, we gotta really think this stuff out. I'd pick him up every morning, and every morning he'd be listening on his little cassette player to Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Girls just want to have fun. That's how I know it was his apartment. But anyway, so the Italian waiters, when we started going out with girls that were like nice girls and our girlfriends after we were on Saturday Night Live. So we took them out to an expensive Italian restaurant. And then the Italian restaurant, the guys just kept, every guy that were, meeting us while we're waiting for a table, Bellissima, they kiss the girls. Bellissima, bellissima. So anyway, I thought that was whatever, it's their culture, whatever. So Adam Sandler and Rob Schneider, the great comedy writer, who wrote The Bears and other stuff, he wrote this thing, with Adam. They showed it to me about 2:30 in the morning. And I just, about the Bellissima, and it just made me laugh so hard I was crying on the floor. I literally fell to my knees laughing. And that was it was the Bellissima, where all the girls are getting kissed by the guys. It was just a culture, and I'd Kirstie Alley's face, And then, Dana Carvey's humping Victoria Jackson on the table. It was just, and then basically I'm naked and my ass is hanging out by the end of this, and Adam Sandler's wearing a diaper. He asked me before, I said, should I shave my pubes? Yeah, shave that stuff. So that was the one I was in. The one I wasn't in, that I really enjoyed, probably the belly button sketch that Adam Sandler wrote. That's when we knew he was a genius. And he wrote everybody had an Audi, and it was Mike Myers, and then I think it was Woody Harrelson. And Woody Harrelson basically had an antenna for an Audi. It was one of those weird sketches, but it was really, really funny. And I really enjoyed that. I wish that would have been in that bastard to put in it. Yes, behind you, the glasses. Yes. You have glasses too. No, you go first. We got 5 minutes, we're good? So we're gonna do 5. I'm sorry. You're not the boss of me. Yes.
Honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
Question: if you could act with somebody living or dead, who would that be?
Somebody about to die. Probably. I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I got to meet Jerry Lewis. He was one of my heroes. John Cleese. I had a chance to work with him. I don't know why I didn't hire him for The Animal. I could have. But there's this other actor that I thought was really funny. I wanted to give him a chance. Michael Palin. But I'm probably Peter Sellers, if I had to pick anybody. Peter Sellers is maybe the funniest human being I've ever captured on film. I mean, no disrespect to Charlie Chaplin or Adam Sandler, but like, you know. I also think Sacha Baron Cohen is brilliant. Sacha Baron Cohen is he never will top Borat no matter what he does. So that was just, it was not just a great character, but it was also such an incredible character at that time during the Bush administration. I support your war of terror. I mean, so the guy who wrote that speech in that, you know, rodeo was named Dan Graney, who also wrote some My Best Stuff in The Hot Chick and in Deuce Bigalow. You know, he's a he bitch man whore, whatever, you know, he bitch man slut. That's like Dan Graney and Matt Selman. And like Matt Selman came over to see me while we were mixing Deuce Bigalow. We're literally mixing it, you know, doing the sound of the picture. He walks in, hey, what are you doing, man? And I was just shooting it on, I was mixing it on the Fox lot, and that's where he does The Simpsons. He's the head writer of The Simpsons, or the guy who runs the room, Matt Selman. So he just sat there, and he's coming up with jokes while we're watching the movie. And then we just, you know, he came up with, that's a huge bitch! And I just happened to have this great black actor, like, doing the voices for me that day, doing some voices. So he went up there and said, Roger, go do that. That's a huge bitch! And just ended up, you know, we put that in more movies after that. And then, so, you know, those are the ones I really remember. It was fun. Yes, someone hasn't asked a question. Is you in the glasses way this young lady is? Yeah. Oh, you know, well, I can get you next, I promise. But yes. Go ahead.
There's so many scenes that you're in that you just can't stop laughing. You're so funny.
Oh, thank you.
So it makes me wonder what scene you're in that you couldn't stop laughing.
I never tried to break. The one scene I did with, I mean, first of all, I probably wouldn't do it, and they wouldn't let us do it. The scene with Chuck and Larry with, where I play the Asian minister. The reason why I felt okay doing that is because the guy who did that design, who designed the makeup, was a guy named Kazu, who worked for Rick Baker. Rick Baker's a genius, and he was the best guy. He's better than Rick Baker, this guy Kazu. He no longer works, he does fine art now. He does like, you know, he does these beautiful like ceramic artwork, and he's a genius. So he made that makeup on my face to look like, you know, a real, you know, Japanese guy. He was Japanese, Kazu. So I said, if he's okay with it, then everybody else is going to be okay with it. And I didn't realize that nobody knew that Kazu made makeup, you know, because he's not in the movie. So, you know, there were some people, I think the Asian American community almost censored me until they realized that I'm Asian American myself. But that was one of those ones where like Adam Sandler and Kevin James couldn't stand in front of me while I was dressed as that guy. And they literally, without breaking, they broke for like about a half an hour and they couldn't stop laughing. So finally they made me leave the set. And they filmed their stuff without me. And I told them after, I got both you bastards. I won this one. So that was one of the ones where like that. But it was one I couldn't, I really tried to keep it together pretty good. You know, Adam's funny. Adam's pretty funny. He's on this comedy special. We do this thing called, we do a song together, which is pretty funny. At the end of it, we both laugh. And I think it's just because we couldn't believe that we did this. At the end of his comedy special, you'll see it, where there's a thing that we do that you'll see, and you'll see that we're both laughing, we just lose our stuff. Because it's also, we're laughing, we've been doing this for 30 years, and I think it was a laugh, not necessarily just at the moment, but for the whole time we worked together. And it's been 30 years already. Unbelievable. So we do a couple of questions quickly. We want to see the last question, so yes, do we have the, yes. There's a man who looks part Filipino like me right there in the nice hair. Yes, in the green. You, young man, in the green. This guy, there's two greens, yes. So, we'll do two questions, we'll do two, and then we gotta go. Yes, question, yes, go first. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I think the European Gigolo, I don't think they were very happy with all the money that they made or what they didn't make, so they probably won't get another one. But no, you can stand up, young man. Yeah, what do you got?
Okay, so I'm actually thinking of maybe wanting to be an actor. So
Maybe? Well, you're going to have to want more than that. I'll tell you one thing my acting coach told me. My acting coach, Roy London, God bless him, we had a really interesting class. Jeff Goldblum, Sharon Stone, Jim Carrey, Elizabeth Shue, David Spade. Brad Pitt. We all knew we were going to make it. All of us. We're going to make it for sure. That was the class. That's a pretty good class. And he said to us, if you can imagine yourself doing anything else, do that. That's how hard this is. And so, that's what we did. So anybody have any great questions at the end on? Because that wasn't very funny. Yes, let's start the young man. What do you got? In the curtains. Okay. Tim Curry was great. I learned a lot from Tim Curry because Tim Curry would do I just assumed, because that was like the first movie I ever made, I just assumed you figure out a way to do the scene and then you just do it that way over and over and over again. Tim Curry would do the scene like 7 different ways and not care about which one was better and just walk away and go, oh, I didn't know you could do that. So he opened up my mind. Christopher Walken opened up my mind to how you can act. Because I asked Christopher Walken, I'll leave this to the last one. Did you have a quick question? I don't want to ignore you, sir. What was your question?
Yeah, Demolition Man. How did the 3 shells work?
I'll tell it at the end. There's a true story to that. Okay, we're up. Okay, it was to Christopher Walken. I was talking to Christopher Walken. He said, because I was really into like the method acting. He says, when you're an actor, you're trying to act, and you go, if I have this technique and this aging, then I'll be able to get work as an actor. And it's all bullshit for the most part. But I asked Christopher Walken, because at the time I was still stuck in it, And not that method acting isn't helpful, it's just you have to use that as a starting point, But I remember talking to him, so Christopher, you do sense memory perception and you do the method. He said, no. I said, well, what do you do? I don't do anything. I just act. I said, well, what do you mean? And he saw that it shook me. So he knew that that my whole foundational thinking for acting was destroyed because he was my hero too. He said, no, I just play. The phone rings at 4 o'clock in the morning. The things that go through my head, was the building on fire? Was there a plane crash? Did my father die? All those things as if. That's it. And so I threw everything out about acting and method acting, boom, boom. And then I just go, as if. The phone rings at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll tell you many things about yourself you don't know. But anyway, so the 3 seashells is basically this. Was thrown in and said, how do the 3 seashells work? He doesn't know how to make 3 seashells. It's very simple. 3 seashells, you lift them up and put them in. Okay, so I want to thank you so much for coming out. Real Rob season 2. If everybody in this room watches it, we'll hurry up and get to season 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching the Convention Junkies coverage of Fan Expo Canada 2018. Join the conversation below with a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more. If you would like to help us with future projects, please visit our Patreon page.